And end credits. And that's it. That's Golden Sun 1. And I like how we have little backdrops of all of the different battle areas in the game that are running as the credits are going. Because I recognize all of these, because these are the places that we fought enemies. That's where we fought the people in the inn, in Vault. That's the forest area near Tret. Yep, I can just recognize all of them. That was fun. That was fun. Weirdproc, I'm really happy that you recommended this to me, because again, it's been over 20 years since I played this game. It's actually pretty remarkable. If you go back and check like when the Game Boy Advance came out, it's like what, like June 11th or something, I think 2001. This game came out August 1st of 2001. Like less than 2 months after the Game Boy Advance came out in North America. It's practically a launch title for this thing, and I think that's one of the big reasons why the game was as well received and huge as it ended up being, was because it was like one of the first things that people actually got to experience on this console. Which is weird because it was originally supposed to be on like, I think they started development on the N64, but it eventually got moved away from that. And ultimately, I'm glad that they put it on the Game Boy Advance, since it seems to be a very fun game to be playing more portably than anything else. I thought the game definitely looks very, very good as far as the gameplay elements. I think combat is simple and streamlined. They don't overcomplicate combat. They could have had like multiple different ways to learn classes. They could have had class points. They could have had weapon points to where you unlock skills from certain weapons, but they kept it simple. All you have to do to change a class is swap Jin around. It's very simple. You master the class immediately. You learn all of the abilities. Normal attacking in this game, I have not played a game that has made it more fun to just do a regular basic attack. Like with RPGs, it's always about like the spells, the unique abilities, the summons. Like that's the flashiness I think that draws in a lot of people. But like the unique weapon properties unleashing special effects is like one of the coolest things. It's not overly complicated of a mechanic at all, but it turns something relatively mundane and boring into something very, very fun. You got the transparent purple GB as a Christmas gift with the Golden Sun packed in. That's wonderful. Yeah, I got it around the same time too. Because again, I didn't get it the minute it came out, but when I got it, I got Golden Sun. Ultimately, immediately after. And, in most games, if I encounter a weapon that's weaker, I don't mess with it at all. But if there's different unleashes associated with it, then I'll ultimately end up trying out different weapons and combinations. I do think the inventory system becomes a little bit frustrating because I was tossing stuff left and right at the end there. And ultimately, I would have liked to have been able to keep all of the unique weapons and all of their unique unleashes and carry them over to the next game or whatever else I needed to do. But without any spare storage, it kind of got a little bit rough. The soundtrack, Motoi Sakuraba did a wonderful job. I really do like the music in this game a lot. It doesn't seem to really suffer a lot from the sound chip the Game Boy Advance does, like a lot of other games do. Like, I enjoy Lunar Legend on the Game Boy Advance, but the sound chip did it terrible justice. It's a wonderful game, and they've obviously did the very best they could with what it's on, with the limitations of what it was on. But the sound chip like really did not do that game justice at all. But it did a wonderful job here. Final score overall for this game, I'm giving it a 78 out of 100. I wanted to really just kind of lead with a lot of the positives first. I do like the fact that it focuses so much on synergy with everything. Combat, puzzles, platforming, all of that. I like the fact that you regain synergy just by running around in normal areas. It makes it far less stressful about, oh man, I want to use the spell, but I'm afraid I'm not going to have any energy left for the boss fight later. Well, you don't have to worry about it. They're going to give you ample supply just by running around, and you'll get a natural supply as you go. So I thought that was neat. It allowed you more freedom to be able to test out abilities that you may not have wanted to test out because you were afraid you're going to run out of your synergy points towards the end. The main thing that hurts this game score is, while the A plot is interesting, exploring alchemy, exploring the elemental stars, the lighthouses, what were Satoru and Minardi planning, why is Felix the childhood brother of Jenna that we tried to rescue but couldn't rescue, that now appeared back from the dead, revealed to have been saved? Why are they trying to light the elemental lighthouses? What is the Wise One all about? Who is this Alex person that was joining everybody? That's all fine, but this game completely falls apart with its B plot. Like, all of the B plots in this game just suck. Let's talk about, like, for example, we had Faisy and Sue. Faisy was the person, for those of you who don't remember, who had the prophetic visions that could, like, kind of see or predict what was going to happen. And the father was like, no, I don't believe there's any prophetic powers, despite the fact that he's training a martial arts class where they're able to punch things with their soul energy. But no, I don't believe in predicting the future. That's preposterous. But in any event, we had the ability, we learned about Sue and learned that he was going to need to be rescued. And all you needed to do was lift a boulder off of his leg. And that's if you decided to do it. Because the main problem with this game is it didn't implement doing that into the main story. It introduced it as part of the A plot, and then kind of let it fall apart as a B plot and didn't really do anything with it because it could have been completely optional. Same thing with Hammett. Ivan's whole backstory, whenever you encountered him with Vault, was that he needed to rescue Master Hammett because he had been kidnapped by Dodonpa, and ultimately we rescued him as part of the B plot. We talked to the dude's wife, making me think it was going to be part of the A plot, but then it too was completely optional and had no effect on the story whatsoever. And then Sheba, who we saw at the very end of the lighthouse, if you didn't go into the bedroom where Babby was in that particular castle in his palace, you wouldn't have even met Sheba. Like, you wouldn't have even known who in the world she was, why she was important, and for that matter, we barely spoke to Sheba in the one cutscene we had with her, so that was relegated to the side too. I don't mind games that are carryover data, that are clearly to be continued games, but they have to stand on their own two legs first for me to really care about the overarching story from part A to part B. They could have easily made it so that all of these things mattered within the confines of this individual game, but they didn't do that at all with any of the things that they introduced with the game. If it was just all side quest stuff, all optional from the very beginning, that'd be one thing, but it wasn't. The script writing was a little bit odd in this game. A lot of the dialogue was clunky, especially during cutscenes. It's like they all got together in a meeting with each other, and I'm like, I don't know whether to have Garrett say this or have Garrett say this. And then they're like, have him say both! And so then they'll have long meandering cutscenes where they'll say alterations of the things that they already said, like basically reaffirming the things that they previously said. And I just found that was like fascinatingly odd. I thought the lack of quick travel was a bit odd with all of the synergy psychic mumbo jumbo. I would have liked a way to have previously traveled to previous locations instantly. But instead you had to really kind of run everywhere on foot. There wasn't like the ship that we had access to at the very beginning to cross the Karagal Strait where we had to rescue everybody. That wasn't a ship we ever regained access to again. We couldn't explore the water. Everything as far as transportation has always been by walking, and I would have liked alternate ways to travel. I thought the beginning section was a little bit slow as far as the tutorial when we were learning about everything. But I can forgive slow tutorials if the rest of the game picks up, and ultimately it did. I think the game is definitely, it gets a recommendation. It's a thumbs up from me. Absolutely play it. if you have the opportunity to do it, but it's not like a must play where I would just otherwise be like going out of my way to say you have to play this game, you have to play it. But it's more like if somebody tells me should I play this game, I'll be like yes. Like you don't, it's not a bad game at all. I will say that The Lost Age is going to make this game feel like a playable demo, if that makes any sense. If you thought the positives of this game were absolute positives, everything in The Lost Age is just gonna take this and just improve it in almost every department. I'm probably overhyping it, and I might come back to it later and not like it as much as I'm hyping it up to be, but it really does improve on so many different things. So yeah, overall, the biggest gripe out of all the gripes is just like I would have liked a little bit more core identity for this game to have mattered within the confines of its own universe, as opposed to the Golden Sun universe as a whole. Extremely fun game though. Love the look of the game. Like the little emote sprites that are popping up. Music's great, combat's great, weapon skills are amazing. All of the animations look incredible on this. I like how lagging everything gets when you're in combat, just because of all of the explosions and particle effects. What else? I don't think I have anything else. I think that's really everything I had to cover. But Thursday, we've got Valkyria Chronicles 4, and we're going to go ahead and play that. It's already installed on the PlayStation 5, and so I'll be ready to go straight with that on Thursday. Yes, the best quote in the entire game. It's the only quote he has in this game. And it's funny because Felix in the next game has a singular quote as well. Oh yes, Friday, your request. Yes, the thing that I've also left on a to be continued indefinitely. I do need to respond to that, and I will. I promise I'll get that to you before Friday, and I'll make sure that gets in. I'm hyped for Valkyria Chronicles 4. In the grand scheme of things, it hasn't been that long since I played Valkyria Chronicles 1, but I am really looking forward to experiencing this again. Let me see if there was anything else. I don't think so. Weirdproc, thanks again for recommending this. So order of operations will probably be this. Then we're going to be playing several of the TurboGrafx CD games. Specifically, there's a couple of Working Designs titles that I haven't had an opportunity to touch on yet that I'm wanting to play. They're not RPGs, so they're not going to be 9 million streams long. But they probably will be maybe 1, 2, 3 streams long, depending on how I do on some of these particular games. But then we're gonna definitely come back and play The Lost Age after that at some point. I am, in the meantime, between now, Valkyria Chronicles 4, and whenever I ultimately play this, I am going to get that Tisiphone Edge. No, I'm sorry. The Tisiphone Edge is a rare is the coveted weapon in The Lost Age, and I keep saying that. I meant the Kikichimonji. I need to go out and get that sword from this game, the 1 in 256 drop. I will get it. I have done worse farms. I'm looking at you, Grandia 3, and so I don't think that this is gonna compare at all to what I had to go through for that one. So take care, everybody, and have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.